Hello. Let's see. Okay, I need one more thing. That'd be helpful. Yeah, that'd be good. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Terry. Happy 4th of July. How are you today? Yes, it's pre-4th of July, or be happy 4th of July weekend, kind of. But always nice to see you. And how is the Luckmeister, the lucky dude, the lucky little man? I like your pictures of him. No kidding. It's always nice to see Terry. It's been a while, for sure. I'm so excited about his new stroller. Oh, cool. I'm sure he's loving that. They can chill. That's fantastic. Oh yeah. Well, I can understand that. I know the day is not the most opportune day. And some days it's been pretty crazy, so it's kind of tough. Oh, I'm sure he's feeling like a prince. Kidding me? He's one spoiled little puppy. Hello, Pamela. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see everybody. Hello, Michael. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think spoiling a little bit isn't a horrible thing. Spoiling too much is not good, but spoiling a little is, within moderation, of course. So definitely. And yes, welcome to today's episode. And of course, here I am racking my brain, trying to figure out what to do for the topic of the show. And then, I'm thinking to myself, well, first of all, independence would be good. And then within the last, let's say, I don't know, 2 minutes, I thought of independence and why America has always been great. Oh my goodness. So yeah. But yeah, there's been some crazy turn of events. I'll have to catch up with you and let you know. Some of it not so good. Some of it same old. But we'll have to catch up, Terry, and I'll let you know what's going on. But some new things have kind of, some new events kind of came to pass. Some things that can change, some things that can't change. So yeah. Yes. But We're still here. We're still kicking. So that's a plus. So yeah. And hello, Pamela. And everybody here. Thank you so much for being here on the pre-4th of July. I'm sure that oh, cool. Yeah, I've also been truly, absolutely exhausted. I have not been getting a lot of sleep. So my Fitbit has been telling me basically how horrible I sleep during the week. It's not a good time. It's not fun. What can you do? So it's nice that tomorrow's a holiday because I am going to exert my independence and sleep in for sure. Absolutely going to sleep in. So that will be good. So yeah, so we'll let give it a few more minutes, and then we'll get this puppy started. Yeah, maybe an after show. Maybe you can do that. That's possible. Hello, Savannah. Hello, hello. Savannah is one of the new. I have to think of how everyone has like everyone has like kind of a name for their tribe, their group, their crew. Like you have what do you call it? Like everyone has. So we have to figure out for Insight Moonshadow, we need to figure out Moonies. There's a cult with that name. But yeah, we'll have to think about it. We'll have to definitely think about that for sure. Yes, we'll have to think of a proper name for the good peeps that support and follow. The insiders. You know what? We're going to have to take down these suggestions. I changed my name. I didn't like my old one. Mooney sounds like Goonies. It does. So that's why Moonies, I don't know about Moonies. But the insiders sounds possibly. It sounds like a possible. So yeah, we'll have to think on that. Starting a list. One thing, Terry, that we're doing, one of the newer things in Insight Moonshadows, as you can tell, you see I'm not typing, but by the magic of YouTube, I could be doing this and watch. Insight with Moonshadow, all of a sudden, type something clever in the chat. See, like, hey yo, and that's not me. But yes, so now we have an associate producer in the chat to help with information. Yes, it's magic, and with the magic of YouTube, and of course, double duty. We have Ariel doing both. So she is also associate producing in case there's little tidbits of information, things that we've spoken about that we already kind of pre-planned and things like that. She will pop in little snippets and things into the chat. Right. I am a fun and capable person who doesn't need to type physically. I can type with my mind. But yeah, it's a Jedi mind trick I have. But exactly. So So that's one thing on the positive side that is going on. So basically, if there happens to be anybody that comes in that is unsavory, or kind of just, you know, not that if they have an opinion, if they're just ridiculous and ridiculous and mean, then we just smite them accordingly. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, so it's like the troll patrol. so you get some troll patrol in there to double check. Yeah, I would agree. I gotta agree. Oh, you got a what? Yeah, gotta clear out the poos out of here. Yeah, yeah. It's a clean stream. Exactly. So I have no problem with different forms of opinion. I'm not critical or judgmental about that. I have no issues with that. It's more or less, it's just someone says just some stupid crap. It just makes no sense. It's not alongside with a topic or not alongside with what's going on. Then we just kind of lightly, gently coax them away. We spirit them away. Like, whoosh. Like an internet colonic. Exactly. Just like that. And that's important. It's about having respect, because I have respect for other people, and people should have respect for anyone that's in this live stream, this show, this chat, all of it. It's very, very important, respect. Because as much as I don't agree with certain people, I will try to respect them the best I can. Now, if they're uninformed, well, I'll just shake my head, agree to disagree, and walk away. But, you know, respect is a good thing. And that being one of the aspects of the topic for today, which is independence and why this country was always great. We didn't need anyone saying it was great. But that's the topic for today. Partially because tomorrow is 4th of July, but also because people have needed to speak about it, and the topics needed to be brought out into the light without malice and without hatred. So that's pretty much the main deal. And you're absolutely correct, Michael. Respect has always been a two-way street. And a lot of that is not happening nowadays, especially with what's going on. So yeah, it's one of those things, for sure. So we're going to start in a couple more minutes, and then we'll get this party started. So I thank you guys for being here. New highly paid show producer. Yes, I just gave her a double. I just doubled her salary. Yes, doubled it. From not so much to not much more. We're low budget here in Moonshadow presently. However, we are looking for sponsors. We're looking at, taking the show on the road, and we're looking at doing a lot of other bigger and better things. One of those things being more mobile. So this may be something you may not see. You may see something totally different. So that's also a very possible thing. So more remotes, potential, yes. And I have to say, anyone that has supported, I have felt incredibly appreciative of, because without all of you, and I posted a picture that was put up on social media on the FB of the old serial killers. Cereal, not eat, but like Cheerios and Little Cubbies and Fruit Loops. So yeah, so I posted that, I shared that picture that, you know, it gets around. But yes, from the humble beginnings of Insight with Moonshadow, that all came from hanging with the crew. So it's always been, yeah, that was a great picture. Grainy as hell, but great picture. It brought so many fantastic memories from back then. And I have to say, I still connect with a few people on a regular, which is good. And I have to say, with Michael, I know, Michael, you don't necessarily need acknowledgement, but I'm going to acknowledge you anyway. Sorry, not sorry. But Michael is an incredibly big, supportive person. He has his own voice, which is very loud in a very soft way. Yes, very zen. Don't try to figure it out. But he definitely has a voice, and I appreciate the fact of his voice. Him and I think a lot alike. But he does support a lot of our crew and what we do, and if we live stream and that kind of thing, any kind of beneficial things, anything that we do, not just live streaming, but any kind of causes or charities that we do, he's also very big on helping or trying to help or offering to help, one or the other. So I have to say thank you very much, Michael, for being one of those quote unquote fill in the blanks. I haven't figured out the name yet, but we will. Maybe moonsights or moonsighters or no, or moonlighters. I don't know. We can add that to the list. Moonlighters. Oh, that might be good. Might be a good one. So yeah, so we'll wait another few minutes. And this is what brainstorming does. This is what, when you get inspiration. Thank you very much. By the power of my Jedi mind. Yes. There's probably more documents and notes on a computer in Nevada presently with this show's name on it than on my PC presently. I'm not even kidding. It's very true. So this is how the big time shows go. They have people on the side taking care of the side things. So I really appreciate that. Absolutely. And Ariel is a great associate producer. She stepped up. And of course, Dawn Marie is still part of Team Insight. And yes, that's so old school brainstorming. It is. It is. See, she just finished a document with every single topic I've covered to date. Just FYI, I did not ask for her to do that. So this is one of those things. This is why I appreciate people that help and support so much. And Ariel has been there. You know, Dawn Marie was very, very helpful, and she still is a very, very treasured part of Insight with Moonshadow. Now Insight with Moonshadow Live. And she still pops in here and there with ideas from the great state of Colorado. And she also was very, very helpful and instrumental in connecting me with all my Korean students. So I wouldn't be having wonderful conversations and teaching lessons and doing all that if it wasn't for Dawn Marie. So that's also another plus. So this is really all about collaborating and connecting and sharing and not being mindful of other people, because unfortunately That's not happening today. Not enough people are mindful of other people. This is why you've seen the news. A lot of people are getting, trampled and beat on, and there's protesters and all this other things, is because it's just crazy right now. There's more hatred right now than in a long time, and it's probably always been here, but now it's more towards the surface because of certain individuals eliciting such behavior and then denying it. It's an unfortunate fact. But yes, so we're gonna get this puppy started. We have a few people in, so thank you very much for being here. And yes, it needed to be done, so topics weren't being repeated, and they wouldn't be repeated because that's just not my thing. I don't want to repeat it. I elaborate, go deeper into a topic, but repeating it, not so much. It'll be a little different. So yeah, so let's get this party started. Let's see here. Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow, an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive, shaman, interfaith minister, and CHI-vangelist with over 30 years of experience in the healing field internationally. So my guide here, my intention here is to guide and empower you so you can empower others. And in empowering yourself, you have the fuel, you have the fire, you have the oomph to empower other people and guide other people, or make other people smile, just passing on the light in your community as well as the world. So I want to thank all of you that are here, to especially all of you here that come by every week to check out the new topic. There are times that a topic is there pre-planned and you can see what the topic is, and then there are times that 5 minutes before the show, a topic just is inspirational, and it just comes up. So yes. So now today's topic is based on independence. Of course, it is July 3rd of 2017, and this is, interestingly enough, the 77th episode. Now, 1976 is when we started, but we're pretty damn close. So 76, 77. So this being episode 77 of Insight with Moonshadow Live. And ultimately, this is really what inspired me to do this topic, is not just the fact that it was 4th of July, but also independence and why this country was already great to start with. People already made it great. It was already great before a hashtag. It was already great before a trademark. And we're going to discuss why it's been as great as it has been, and what independence really truly is. Now, all of you do realize that a lot of times I speak mindfully and passionately about being a free thinker, about questioning authority, about looking at things from a different perspective and trying on other people's shoes before you go ahead and judge and criticize, before you point your finger. And there's a real big reason for this, because ultimately, independent people are what really built this country. Immigrants built this country. Now, this is just as an example. Like when you look at Periscope as an example, it says built by immigrants. I love that, you know? Now, Savannah's saying, I love to be free. And that's important. So we could be living in countries like North Korea, which is basically a police state. You can't think for yourself. If you have a television, it has to be mandated channels. There's, I believe, only 3 channels, if I am correct. There's only like 3 channels you can watch, and it's all sanctioned by the government. So you can't see anything else but what they force feed you. Now, as much as some people would love to be the king of this country or be in complete control of things, you know, I have to say, ultimately, the immigrants and the independent people are what really made this country what it was, right from the get-go. So, well, I kind of like TVs for background noise. And sometimes I'll watch TV for hours and not even realize what I watched. Because it's just, my brain is going elsewhere. But again, it's really about proper usage of what happened and the actual history of what happened. Now, I was reading through the Declaration of Independence. And right in the beginning, it said that we were all born equal. We're all equal. We're meant to be equal. So, honestly, if you really think about it, the Native Americans were the true Americans here, and even they accepted people coming into their country. And again, it wasn't even theirs. They don't believe it's theirs. They believe it's borrowed. They believe they are stewards. And I also believe that as well, that we are stewards of this planet. We're here to take care of this planet and the people in it. So yes, it sounds like it's a big, socialist mindset that what I'm talking about, but really it's a combination of, if you want to excel, you can and you should. And you could do that in this country. If you have to step on people to do it, well, I'm not necessarily going to agree with you. Just my opinion. Sorry, not sorry. But the thing is, basically, throughout history, there were people that had oppressed other people and stomped on other people. Now, this has not stopped happening. It's still happening to this day. But the thing is, all it takes is a voice or a few voices to make change. And this is how we started way back when. Now, I think it's over 200, I think it's 215th 4th of July parade here in Rhode Island. And it's the oldest 4th of July parade in the United States. So we started way back when, in the beginning. Now, the great thing about this particular Independence Day parade, it really focuses on the veterans. It focuses on the Native Americans. It focuses on the people, the volunteers, the people, the immigrants, the people that really, really made this country incredible. A lot of these buildings that were built, a lot of these roads that were paved, a lot of these things were not people with a ton of money. They were people with no money that wanted an opportunity, that wanted a dream, that wanted to have better than what they had in their own home country. Now, the American dream, I do believe the American dream does still exist, but you have to go really digging now deep for you to get there. And you can't allow anyone to take care of you for it. You have to do it yourself, more so now than ever. So just imagine the apocalypse without zombies. It's kind of the way the world is. And it's been going this way for quite some time. So honestly, and as Ariel is putting it, it comes around to respecting those before us and those who helped us acclimate here. And it's very, very true. And ultimately, way back when, we considered this the melting pot. Now, It used to be the melting pot. Well, now, if I make a big, huge pot of stew or jambalaya and say, you know what, I don't think I want the chicken in there. So I get rid of the chicken. And then I say, you know what, I don't think I like the rice either. And I get rid of the rice. And then I get rid of the shrimp. I get rid of the seafood. And before you know it, there's nothing in the pot. This is kind of where current events is leading, except for some very independent people and souls that are actually, speaking up. Now, again, of course, I'm trying not to be overly political because I'm truly not that political person, but I do believe in what's fair is fair. So, truly, people do matter. Parties don't matter as much as people do. So looking at it from that perspective, it's really not about agendas, and it shouldn't be about agendas. It really should be about us getting along, us making the world the best it can be. Because ultimately, whether anyone likes it or not, we are in a global community. If you look at any shelf in any supermarket, there is such a collaboration of so many different countries. And all of it is important. All of it is important here. Because a lot of times people don't realize that some of the most incredible, beautiful buildings, some of the most incredible architecture were built on the backs of immigrants. A lot of them were. And they came in looking at wanting the dream, wanting better for their families, wanting to escape oppression, very much like some of the people that have defected from North Korea to South. Now, South Korea, you have a lot of artists, you have a bustling country. It's a beautiful, I've never been there, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, it's a beautiful country. So now, taking a look at that, it's because there's freedom, and because there's independence, and because people are allowed to think, to breathe, to live, and to be free. Now, ultimately, that's the important thing. So I would think that, more importantly, living by what our forefathers did. And, yes, I will say that government has been corrupt for a long time, even back then. However, now it's more in the forefront than ever. So now it's more like football scores. If you look at the way things are right now, it's like football commentary. And I like a good sporting event, but not with my life. That's why a lot of free trade and importing things from different countries and giving people, like, for example, I'm a big fan of handcrafted artisan people. You look at different places, you can get handmade crafts, you can get handmade bracelets from different people that are impoverished, and that goes directly to helping their country or their community or their people. So a perfect example, buy a lady a drink. This is one of the charities I really like. Stella Artois, you can buy an etched chalice, and different artists had etched different glasses from different parts of the world. Now, they started this, I believe it was 2012, I believe. But that is one glass, I believe the purchase of one Stella Artois etched glass offers 5 years of drinking water. 5 years. And I think the glasses are like $13, for example. So something where we would normally pay for a couple of Starbucks coffees or a few days of Dunkin' coffee, for example, we can go and offer water, drinking water, to people in a third world country. Now, this is what truly makes this country great. There are visionaries here. There are people with independent, free-spirited mindsets that will slap, they just look at authority and say, look, we're going to do things our way. And they change the rules. And that's another thing. If you really, really think about it, almost all of us, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, ended up coming here to the same place, to Ellis Island. And of course, in the chat, from my trusty assistant here, there's a link to the Stella Artois site for Buy a Lady a Drink. But this is only one of the possibilities. See, this is not government that's doing all this charity work. They're individual people with an idea, people with a passion, people with fire, people that just have it within them to say, look, I may only be one, but I'm going to do what I can to influence one more, and then two more, and then four more, and then six more. Now, this could be good and this could be bad. If I'm pushing a negative agenda, well, before you know it, there could be riots in the streets. But if I'm actually professing peace and unity, wouldn't that be a better idea? So this is the big reason why this topic came up with being independence and how this country was already great a long time ago. We didn't need a whole lot of help. We just needed 1, 2, 100, 1,000 people to come with an idea, with a dream. Most money that's made to this day is not from the big box stores. Most of it came from mom and pop shops. So I will say this: if given the chance, when given the chance, I do shop local, and I'd rather shop in a mom and pop shop, like a bookstore, for example. If given the choice, I'd rather go to a used bookstore or a bookstore that is independently owned. You find incredible hidden treasures, number one, but also two, not only do you find some really great hidden treasures, but you also get a true feel of what a bookstore is. Not something that was homogenized, not something that was pasteurized, not something that was overdone or thought of in a think tank with focus groups and all that. It was just a couple of people, one person with an idea. And they risked a lot for that idea. Now, Michael's saying here, my Irish ancestors on my dad's side came through Canada from Ireland. Well, there you go. And I have relatives all over the world at this point. But do I treat them or think of them any less because they're not born here? Actually, I consider myself more European than anything else, but I am a global citizen and proud of it. Any place that I've gone to, more than likely, I left a piece of myself there and brought a piece of myself, brought a piece of that place, that culture, along with me. Now, some of you already know some of the places, the UK. In the UK, there were a few of those places, as well as South Africa too, which was a huge influence for me. But again, it doesn't take money to make an idea grow. To truly make an idea grow, it doesn't really take money. It could be social media. Instead of hating on your social media page, how about promoting some facts? Or how about promoting some goodness? Now, I left Facebook for a long time, many, many years, because I didn't like what I was seeing. However, when I was on Facebook back then, I was promoting quotes, I was promoting good juju even way back when. And if you are following me on Facebook now, a lot of those way back in 2009, 2010 even, quotes that I shared, I'm resharing because they're popping up, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, that kind of thing. But this is not for me to get a ticker tape parade or to get, acknowledged or anything. It's really all about just speaking up and being a voice and trying to be part of the light instead of being part of the darkness. Because even though we need both, it's good to have it's good to shine the light through the darkness and make things happen. Not to do it just because of a tax deduction, which is still great, but to do it for the sake of doing it, just because, that is so much more powerful. That's incredibly more powerful. And there are multiple times where I haven't had a dollar to my name and I gave my last dollar to someone. Why? Because you know what? I'll find a way to make another dollar, but that person may not. That person may not. So what's, I have a roof over my head. Give it to someone that's less fortunate. So also too, I see in the chat here, if the Stella Artois link gets lost in chat, it will be in this description as well. So there you go. So they'll be popped into the description as well. Now, granted, these are basic things that we all need. Water, plumbing, a roof over our head. All these things are important. These aren't privileges. To me, they are birthrights. Because how can I give into the system if I don't have anything to give? So ultimately, if you really, really think about it, it comes from the old proverb as well. If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Well, that's true. But sometimes you have to give the man a fish first to say, all right, you're weak, you're not well, let's get you fed, and then let's get you going. Let's give you some training now. So that's important. And also too, on Amazon, Michael just mentioned, on Amazon, they sell one too for the charity, posting the link above in the chat as well. So even in Amazon, they have that. And that's where I think I saw them. You can see them on Amazon, and they still give to the charity. Now, one thing I will say about charity and about thinking about giving to a charity or a cause, really, really research the cause. If 98% of it is going towards administrative costs and commercials, then think twice about maybe giving to that cause. But like you know, I do the Red Nose Day. This has been the second annual, and I'll be doing them as long as I can do them. But the thing is, with Red Nose Day, all the proceeds, all the profits go, except for the taxes, the 1%, the tax that you pay on a red nose or a pen or a hat or whichever, or a mug. And I have all those. But ultimately, this is the important thing, is research this stuff as well. But it all goes back to being independent, being a free thinker, and thinking for yourself. Don't just jump in and follow everyone without knowing the facts. Be conscious about it. Be mindful about it. You know, if somebody asks you, why do you think this way? Well, because my granddaddy thought that way, and my great-granddaddy thought that way, and my grandmother thought that like that. Really? Now, no disrespect to grandma and granddad, or great-granddad or great-grandma, but maybe they could have been a little skewed, or maybe the world has changed a bit, or maybe things need to be changed up, or maybe things need to be a different way. You know, something has to happen. But it takes people like yourselves to step up, to speak up, to use your voice. Like in South Africa, they have, against domestic violence and violence in that country, they started out Shout. And a lot of actors and performers, celebrities, comedians, artists, they all band together to start this big movement. And it has done a lot, it's made a lot of change. So they've done quite a lot. Now, I discovered them when I went to South Africa way back when. But the thing is, it started with one person with a voice. No different than Bono with Red, you know, and Tom with Tom's shoes. You buy a pair of shoes, they give someone else a pair of shoes. All of that is super important. It really, really is. Now, Michael's saying Charity Navigator is a good source for info on charities. Thank you. So Charity Navigator. Take a look at that. And that will also be put in the info in the description as well. Now, also, Ariel is saying it's important to have our own opinions based on current society, feelings, and beliefs rather than outdated ones. And it's true, because some things you have to adapt. Some things you have to look forward. You have to be more progressive. And God forbid I said the word progressive, but it's all about adaptability. It's all about adaptability. A lot of times we don't adapt. So if you're used to Cheerios in the morning for the last 50 years, that's fantastic. But I may put a little bit of a bug in your ear to say, hey, have you ever thought of trying oatmeal a couple of days a week? And oatmeal, I'm just picking oatmeal out of the sky, you know. Or another cereal. Or switching up from milk to soy milk, or almond milk, or cashew milk, coconut milk. A lot of times, too, what will happen is I will purposely do something different so I don't fall into a rut. Now, this is something that I've done ever since I was a kid. I've always wondered what it was like to be like someone else. So that's something I always pushed, and I always spoke for the underdog. You know, if someone was being bullied, even though when at the time, I wasn't, you know, built like I am now, but even then, I had a voice. And used more than just my voice to change situations as well. But it's something I had to do. Now, of course, now Michael's saying Apple does big push for Red. Now, granted, there's a lot of big charities and big things that are really happening. Red Nose Day is one. It started over in the UK, and then, you know, of course, it's here now. But a big part of it is definitely checking out and thinking for yourself, and really looking at what you believe. Thinking about what you really truly believe. Now, just because everyone in your family has thought the same way does not mean you should have to. I remember back in the day where if a kid was like, oh, can I go with my friends and such, and the parents said no, and they said, oh, but everyone else is going. It's like, well, if everybody else jumped off a bridge, would you want to too? Now, this mindset seems to be kind of polluted right now because there's a lot of followers in all aspects. There's a lot of followers. And this is part of the reason why we should question authority. This is part of the reason why free thinking is so important. This is part of the reason why we are in the United States of America. A select few said, hell no, we're not doing this. We're not going to get taxed like this. We're out. See ya. Talk to the hand, whatever it is at the time. They said, we're out. And then they rebuilt things. They rebuilt the 13 colonies. And Rhode Island was one of them. So, of course, that being said, why do we have all this separation? Why do we have all this separation? Why is there so much hatred in the world? Now, I will say wholeheartedly that the hatred was always there. But like anything else, if you stir the stew long enough, anything on the bottom is going to come to the top. And that's what's been happening. Now, I can personally say that I've spoken to many different types of people, from Muslims to Buddhists to Catholics to Christians to Episcopalians to, people from all walks of life, and have had conversations with them. So honestly, it doesn't matter if you're gay, transgender, black, blue, purple, polka dotted, tattoos from your forehead down to your neck. It doesn't matter. It's the quality of person that you are. That's really the more important thing. Now, Michael is stating a very good point. Protect the minority from the tyranny of the majority. Now, the majority is the normal. The normal is, if you think normal is, the norm is just enough of a group of people to dominate or be stronger than the weaker. That's all it is. That's what normal is. Even though all of us are very unique. Now, diversity, independence, immigrants, that is what made this country the way it is. So it's always been great. It's always been great. Let's just take stripping the rainbow of all of its colors except white. You wouldn't have a rainbow anymore. You'd have copy paper from Staples. You wouldn't have a rainbow. If you started stripping away the different types of music, different genres of music. And even I had a not so much love for a couple of different ones. Now it's just disco. I still can't stomach disco. Sorry, not sorry. But the point is, if you strip away everything from itself without really thinking about the history, without really thinking about the backstory, before you go ahead and say that cruel joke that is only funny to you, that racist comment, that racist slur, think about if you are on the receiving end. And I think ultimately if we thought more like that, I think we would understand each other a little bit better. And believe me, I've got a whole bunch of European Portuguese jokes you won't believe. I got a ton of them. But it's also my nationality. And it's not everyone. It's not completely true. In fact, most of it's untrue, but it's just a caricature of what we think. Yeah, Disco Ducks song, I'm going to say that one was kind of good. I'll give you that one, Michael. I'll give you that. And I like some of what people tried to do with disco-esque songs like Alice Cooper and Kiss. Kiss also did a good job with dancifying their music, their rock and roll. So there's some that I can do. But funk was all the way through, way awesome and way more better. Way more better. I did say just way more better. I might as well say funner too. But anyway, but it was much more fun and incredibly better. Way more better. Incredibly better than disco. If you think about it, funk. If you ever check out Prominent Funkadelic, George Clinton, and P-Funk, you check out that stuff. It's amazing. Nielsen, I hope someday to hear a similar speech from our president as the Prime Minister's speech for Canada on Canada Day. That our country accepts and welcomes people from all religions, orientations, etc. Yeah, funner. But also too, I will even say this. This is fact. The last two popes that came from a very old organization of Catholicism, even now, these two popes are far more adaptive. Pope John Paul, he really did a good job in being far more spiritual and open-minded to all. And he was just teaching about what the Creator really was, what God really is, what love really is, what compassion really is. So the Dalai Lama and not both popes now, they were a lot more on the same page than different pages. So of course, we get stuck in the minutia of it all to say, oh, that's not my label. And let's talk about labels for a second. Let's talk about labels. We all like labels to some degree because this is black, that is white. This is a PC. This is live streaming. But really, that's just a guideline. That's really just something that we kind of look at from the perspective of an idea. But ultimately, a label is just a label. Are you that? And I've had many people come up to me and go, are you a witch? Well, I've been a high priest in a coven. But I'm also an interfaith minister. That doesn't go. Also, I remember back in the day, I had a very strong debate with one of my friends, and they were born again. Now, granted, this is still on topic about independence and free thinking, by the way. It's just free thinking within spirituality. And so this person said, Moon, you're all over the place. I don't get it. You're all over the place. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? I said, okay, I will simplify it for you. I believe in the source. I believe in the Creator. I believe in the Great Spirit, the Great Father. Is that complicated? And she looked at me like, no. So again, labels. So all of us tend to revolve around labels, whether it's a political label, or whether it's a gender label, or whether it's a social caste or a social class label, when ultimately everyone wants the same thing. They want to be able to live, to be happy, to maybe have a family, maybe not have a family, maybe enjoy the fruits of their labor. You know, all of that. is incredibly important. So now, even society, and and there's probably too many broadcasts of me saying I'm not really into society, which I'm really not. But I would say being tribal is probably like being a form of society, but it depends on intent. It really depends on intent. Now, way back when, we used to actually respect our elders. Now we shuffle them away into old folks' homes so they can go into history forgotten. Now, that's not everybody. That's not everybody. I know quite a few people that still regard their elders with love and caring and affection and respect. But as a society, using a label, we do less of that. Our veterans are coming back from wars or came back from wars to very little or no health care. Now, is that respect? Is that thank you for fighting for your country? Thank you for fighting for our freedom. That's a hell of a thank you, isn't it? Sorry for the sarcasm. So ultimately, that's part of this whole thing with independence. This is what it starts. This is where it starts to take fruit, is that if the right seed is planted, you're going to get the right fruit. If you plant the wrong seed, it can cause a lot of trouble. It can cause a lot of problems. And this is, before you think about something, you hear about a topic, and a lot of times you see on TV, you see what people's perceptions are. Now, this is all different perceptions. Think for yourself. Fact check. We have people now that completely lie. Now, is it the first time we've had liars in government? No. A lot of politicians aren't always truthful. However, the big part of it, though, is if they're doing it for the right reasons, because we're voting them in. And again, I'm not going to get super political. This is not really about politics. This is about us carrying everyone, about not stripping the colors off the flag. The fact of respecting the mom and pop shops that sweat and work diligently and so difficultly hard to raise their families on practically nothing, to have that small variety store, the little coffee shop, the little restaurant, whatever it may be. To have respect for that person that shines your shoes on the street corner. All of it's providing a service, and all of it is someone or a group of people trying to make the world a better place. There was a place that a bunch of musicians got together, and at the time I was working with challenged individuals. And I'm going to say challenged because I believe we're all challenged. They weren't disabled, they were challenged, because I think we're all a little challenged. And I think 2 or 3 shows ago, 2 or 3 broadcasts ago, I spoke about special needs, and all of us have some form of special need. So all of us need to be cared for sure. And I don't mean that against anyone that has lesser than, they're less physically able than I or anything. It's like they need the chance to be able to be their ultimate best. And that's where I'm going with that. But there was this group of musicians that decided to go out of the box and start a program for people with different challenges. Anyone from the autism spectrum to mild to profound disabilities or challenges, And a lot of these people that I've recognized and worked with, a lot of them were incredibly gifted. They probably knew more than a lot of people that are quote unquote normal that I know. But the thing is this, though. It took cojones for them to start this project and do it. There's also another group that is local here that they worked with painting. And now they're pretty far. I think it's Peace Love. If I'm not mistaken. I know they're local. But the movement itself has changed and grown so much that it's so much bigger than it was. Now, in regards to elders, Michael is saying here, my mother never went into a nursing home long term. We took care of her at home, and she passed away at home. She had her final days, her final stage of Parkinson's. Okay. Now, I had the wonderful opportunity of working with this gentleman that had Parkinson's, and he ended up passing as well. He was one of the most intelligent, wise people I've ever met. Now, with Parkinson's, it takes you a long time to move from one spot to the next. He used a walker. He was just an amazing individual. And I adopted him, I have to say, very early. But in pouring rain, he would be frustrated that his body wasn't doing what he wanted to do. And I would stand there in pouring rain with him. Now, I want to say I miss my conversations with him because he was an incredible man. And he truly, truly was. So if you're hearing out there, and you know who you are, I hope you're doing far better. He was an avid sailor. He was a Mason. He accomplished a lot in his life, and all with his two hands. And he was quite the free thinker himself. So ultimately, this is what it boils down to. This country would not be this country if it wasn't for the unruly, rough and tumble people that decided to make change. Positive change. Effective change. Change for the majority of the people. Didn't matter what social class they were. Didn't matter how much money they were or they had. It didn't matter if they were the 1%ers or the 98%ers. It didn't matter. A lot of people risked a lot to make this country what it was. Now, Ariel is saying, I remember when my grandfather had Alzheimer's, my family opted for a nursing home. Not because we didn't want to care for him, simply because it got so difficult for my grandmother to take care of him. Now, honestly, there's a level of needing more care, and that's a given. But it doesn't mean you can't visit. It doesn't mean that you can't continuously connect or touch base or remind. That is the important thing. So it takes more than just, what I was talking about is really shuffling them off into institutions, because a lot of times, way back in the day, if someone had some kind of difference, they were either shut out because they thought they were possessed by the devil, or they were put in institutions when they didn't need to be in institutions. They needed to be understood. Maybe they had a learning disability. Maybe they saw things differently. And Ariel is saying, agreed, and we visited him often. See, this is the thing. Now, understandable, if I am more, if it is harder for my own family to take care of me, then you get support help. Absolutely. But this is part of it. We all have a story. Now, going way back, your own ancestors had a story. Where they came from, how they got here, who they came here with. All these things really makes a huge difference. But it was all built on some people that may have not known the language right away, people of different colors, people of different faiths, people of different social classes. And I can tell you, most of my relatives came over and they were all college educated. And I'm not saying that to say they were better or anything. I'm just saying that they actually went to school and they made a choice to have a better life here, even though they were educated. So this is part of it. So do I believe America is great? Do I believe this country is great? Absolutely. Do I believe people are misaligning what's going on, separating, segregating, destroying? Yes. But part of it is our fault, because it should stay we the people. And yes, that was very political, and I apologize. But it should be we the people. It should be people, not party. And I'll leave that in the political box and the political basket there. But it should be people, not party, and that's what's really important. Because we all want the same thing. Deep down inside, we all want the same thing. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. We want to be taken care of as far as healthcare, as far as a roof over our head. We all want that. So, unless you are willing to live with what you're promoting, i.e., healthcare system, if you're willing to live by the same healthcare system that you're promoting, then I'm all for it. So I do like the fact that a former president had said, I want everyone to have the same health care as Congress. Boy, that went down. Oh, no one liked that. And there are countries that successfully have successful health care as well. And people are okay. But again, not for the sake of not getting overly political, it's really all about being the voice, being the light, and thinking for yourself. Don't just get force-fed all the stuff that you get where you watch in the news, or you hear from people, or you get on a social feed. Fact check. Look at that. You know, again, part of the Declaration of Independence was, man was born, they were born equal. They were born equal. They were born equal. And I know, as Ariel said, heaven forbid we're all on equal levels. Oh, I know, huh? But this is part of it. And I know people from every bit of the spectrum. And I remember going back in the early days, prior to Insight with Moonshadow, here with this broadcast, I remember being in a discussion with three other different people, and it was really late in the morning. Well, it was late in the night, early in the morning, and all four of us had different views. None of us raised a voice. None of us necessarily fully agreed with each other. But there are parts that we did agree on. There were parts that we did agree on. And there were parts we didn't agree on. But not one of us raised our voice. Not one of us were disrespectful towards the other. And we're talking not only, it was generational as well. People at different ages. I was one of them. And I was there firsthand to be there. But the point of it was, we all came to some kind of conclusion. We all came together on some things. Now, if countries could do that, there'd probably be a whole lot less war. If governments could do that, then they probably wouldn't be a civil war amongst themselves. So ultimately, this is what it is thinking for yourself, looking for yourself, taking care of yourself. Now, granted, government has a lot of pull and a lot of power to help, and they should to some degree. But we have voted for them. They're our voice. My voice is not going to tell you to treat me badly, or to sweep me under the rug, or to ignore me, or to be oppressive to me, or to segregate me, or to send me off to another country even though I wasn't even born there. I was born here, you know? All of those things. So this is what it boils down to, really, people, honestly. So a lot of things could happen with communication. Proper communication. And that's true. That's very, very true. And if we only thought of it from that perspective, then the world would be a better place. In fact, I'm not even going to say the world would be a better place. I would say that it would be great as it should have been a long time ago. And it was great then. Don't mess it up. And I'm talking long before treating people poorly and segregation and all that. I'm talking about way back when everyone had a job and everyone had their purpose and everyone had a job in the tribe, a task they had to do. The elders had their place. The young ones had their place. Now, if we only thought that way, then it would be truly a community. It would truly be a good global community, and no one would not want for anything. It'd be a better place to live. And granted, I'm not speaking about, some kind of euphoric blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. I'm just saying it'd be a better place. Not perfect, but better. And ultimately, that's what I'm talking about. You have the ability to think and be independent, as your forefathers were, as your ancestors were, to make a change, to think twice, to be mindful about your actions, to think about what can I do to make my life better? What can I do to make my next door neighbor's life better? If we thought that way, it would be crazy. And then if you think about this too, if everybody, let's just say one state, I'll pick Rhode Island just for the hell of it. One little state. And Rhode Island's the smallest state, mind you. If everybody in Rhode Island thought at the same time, the same thing, simultaneously, this would change massively. This would probably be like major manifestation almost immediately. You know? So if you really want to go way, way back there, But that's it. That's truly it. So it's all about evolving and being a better person and being, like you look at Martin Luther King. I have a dream. He had a dream. You had Abraham Lincoln doing his part. Everyone had their thoughts and abilities, and they did the best they could with what they had. Now, it may not be happening enough in this day and age, and I would hope and pray that it would start. So, am I against people protesting on both sides? No, I think it's bringing awareness to what's wrong. It's bringing awareness to what's right. It's bringing awareness all the way around. That's the one thing that our present state has brought. It has brought people to really start to voice their opinions. Now, the only thing I have to say is do not be misinformed. Check the facts. Whichever direction you're in, check the facts. Because there are a lot of people that basically throw smoke and are all smoke and mirrors. And there are a lot of people out there. Because think about it. I will take care of all of you. Absolutely. And then, when given the job, oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean all of you. I just meant some of you. As Michael is saying, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Or wear Nike sneakers and drink the Kool-Aid, because that was a whole different mothership thing. But we won't go there. But ultimately, this is the whole thing. So we're going to summarize today's topic. We're looking at the spirit of Independence Day tomorrow. Now, granted, Independence Day for the U.S., but it's still independence. It still marks the day, the event that we decided to step aside and say, look, we're doing something different, and you're not going to stop us. They did it for the right reasons. Unfortunately, things also became corrupt here as well, along the way. And I'm talking way back. We need to go back to we the people. And I'm saying we the people on multiple levels. I'm not talking just politically. I'm talking about we the people. We the stewards of this planet. We the keepers of our brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter what faith they are. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what gender they are. It doesn't matter. So we're going to close up the broadcast for today. And I want to, first of all, wish all of you an incredible happy 4th of July. I hope all of you are very safe. And if you're going to be drinking, have one for me, but not 2 or 4 or 10. You can have just one, because combined, that'll be all good. But I hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday. And that's coming from myself and Team Insight with Moonshadow. We will be thinking of a nice, for the sake of labels, for a group name, but it's not as important. You all know who you are, and you guys are amazing. So I want to thank you so much for spending time with me here on Insight with Moonshadow. You are all my inspiration. You inspire me to do this every week, whether I'm exhausted, whether I'm well, whether I'm not well, whether I have the energy or not have the energy. I'm here every week. And a lot of it is because of you. So if you feel guided to connect and support my vision and what I'm doing here, all you need to do is follow and subscribe to my social media. Click on that subscribe button. click on that notification button, that little bell, and that will tell you when I'm live. Of course, I'm trying to pre-plan things like I used to and pre-schedule things like I used to. But sometimes it's a little bit harder, and I am trying my best to get back, or doing my best to get back to that. Also, too, if you'd like to see any of my social media links, feel free to go. You can look on my YouTube description as well as phoenixrisinghealingarts.com. So happy 4th of July, people, and be strong, be amazing, be you. Happy 4th of July. Light and love, guys. Take care.